turning his stomach. It was an exquisite feeling, exciting and dangerous. Deep inside, Blake knew that the gift he was about to open would have life-changing possibilities. The package had been tightly wrapped in a gold silk cloth and tied with red cotton braid, a colour so bright and vivid that it shimmered and looked fluid. There was nothing to say who had sent such a fine gift, and the coachman had, when questioned, been vague as to how it had come into his possession and who had told him to deliver it. "A man just stopped me in the street," he said softly, avoiding contact with Blake's strong gaze and keeping the brim of his hat low over his eyes. He waved his arms about like a madman, nearly frightened the horses to death. Foreign man, could hardly speak a word of the king's tongue. Never seen one that looked like him before. All he kept saying was number 6 Bloomsbury Square. He gave me the package, Dr. Blake, pressed a guinea coin in my hand, and then turned and ran. Blake questioned him further. "You know my name. Did the man tell you?" "Everyone knows you, Dr. Blake. You are a man of letters." The coachman smiled. "In fact, I can now say that you are a man of parcels." At that he laughed, handed over the heavy gift, and walked promptly to the carriage. Blake watched as he picked his way through the filth and puddles, jumped onto the driving seat, and slowly drove the horse and carriage up the muddy road of Bloomsbury Square. Without hesitation, Blake tore at the parcel, unable to wait until he got inside. He sat on the white marble steps and quickly pulled open the silk wrapping. It was then that he first looked upon the Nemorensis, a book so splendid in appearance that it caused his heart to beat faster. The thick leather cover was encrusted in gold leaf. The tatty pages were etched in sharp black that had faded with the years, scratched in small letters. He had never thought he would ever hold the Nemorensis, even if he believed it had existed. Now he knew. Now it was his. Late one night, several weeks afterwards, Blake was leafing through the parchment pages, trying to glean every piece of knowledge. And there, in the 6th chapter of the 6th book, on the final page, written by an unknown hand in the margin, he read the words, "Wormwood, the bright star shall fall from the sky, and many will die from its bitterness." From that day he had searched every corner of the heavens looking for the new star, convinced that this would be the sign that a new age was about to begin, a golden dawn to enlighten small, feeble human minds. Generations had spoken of its coming and had faded away before seeing the enlightenment. The illumination of the world was drawing near, and he would be the first to see it, the first to tell the world. Blake sipped a cup of hot tea and smiled to himself. He looked again through the lens of the telescope that rested on its fine oak tripod. The stars and planets remained the same. The universe was unaltered. In a few hours the night would be over and nothing would have changed. He stamped angrily on the wooden floorboards. Blast, bother, and gibber. Will it ever come? He asked himself impatiently, his words echoing around the empty room. He began to doubt his calculations, and wondered whether by some chance he had predicted the wrong day, week, or even year. He looked again, and more anxiously, into the night, hoping against hope that somewhere, in a far-off galaxy, a new light had appeared. It was midnight. Far in the distance he heard the sound of St. George's church clock chiming out the hour. Suddenly the house began to vibrate and shudder. The whole world lurched forwards, then backwards, and then spun even faster. Blake heard a looking-glass drop and smash to pieces from a wall downstairs. Tiles cascaded from the roof to drop the 4 stories, smashing like leaves of baked clay in the road below. Plaster fell from the ceiling. At any moment he thought the house would fall to the ground. In an instant the stars vanished. Time and time again the sun rose, then set. Night became morning. Then night again.